Hi everybody, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. We are making a new planner for the new year 2023, but don't worry if you're watching this later in the year. These also come blank. The tabs come blank. You can make this into a journal, you can make this into a planner, whatever you like. It's made from a composition book, so easily found materials. And if you watch to the very end of the video, I'll tell you how you can win this for your very own. So let's make a planner together. All right, so let's go over the materials that we are going to be using to make our planner. I love to use composition books. You can get these at the dollar store, you can get them at Staples, you can get them at most grocery stores, and a great time to stock up on these is back to school. I'll buy 10 or 12 of these and just put them in my craft stash because it's the cheapest they're going to be. They're around $1. And we've got seascapes and sand. 12 by 12 patterned cardstock. This is from Hot Off the Press. I'll link this down below. And this I've used, I think, once or twice before, doing some things last year. And there's 2 of each double-sided patterned cardstock in these gorgeous ocean themes. Ocean and beach, really. I mean, look at that border. And this is just one of my favorites. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so this is wonderful for any time of the year. It's got these fantastic cutouts. But if this is a vacation planner for you or just a dream planner, this is a great one to go for that. For all of you ocean lovers out there. All right, and we've got some digital downloads. So we've got a 2023 sort of book plate to put on the front, and we've got, of course, a 2024 in case some of you are late to the game or want to make one for next year even. And then we've got our months and lots of blank ones so you guys can customize these tabs for whatever you want to do. The first thing we're going to do, and get this out of the way and have a little drying time, is do a inking technique to match our papers on our printouts. I just printed these out on white cardstock, but you know what? You could actually print these out if you don't want to do the inking and you want to skip this part. You could also print them out on your favorite colors of cardstock. So that's also an alternative there. All right, so I'm going to grab, oh, I should mention what we're going to be using for our inks. These colors I thought just went awesome with the paper pack. So these are Prism ink pads. These are dye-based inks, so they're water reactive, and that's really going to be important here. So this is Roasted Pumpkin, Prussian Blue, and Teal. And I thought those would really look pretty with those papers. And what else am I going to need? I'm going to need something I can ink on and get messy. This is just a little glass mat. Use what you have. You could use a, what could you use instead of a glass mat? You could use just like a crumpled up plastic bag would work great for this technique. You just want something to cover your work area because we're going to get pretty messy. So I'm also going to be using some little blender tools like this. You could use blender brush. I might even bring my brush in, or you could also just use the surface of the ink pads, just something to get the ink where we want it. So I'm going to start off with the Prussian Blue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink along the top. Now I'm not going to use these right here, so you know what though, let's be smart about this and just cut them off because I might change my mind. There we go. And I'm also just going to use this one. All right. As I said, we're going to start using the Prussian Blue along the top and bottom edge. You can even just kind of go like this to get both of those inked at the same time. Don't worry about the application. If you're getting little rings from your brushes or your tools, it's all going to go away. But we're trying to just make a Prussian Blue sandwich on each end of these tags and leaving the center part of the little tab or tag free of color. ish. Same thing up here. All right, so you're getting my idea of the sandwich. All right, now we're gonna add some pumpkin. And the pumpkin's gonna go right across that center. And this is nice just to kind of use the edge of your tool. There we go. And once I'm done with the pumpkin in the center, I'm just gonna go back and add just a smidge, you know, that measuring amount called smidge, a dash of the teal. Just essentially get that third color in there. All right, there's pumpkin. So I will go ahead and use my blending brush here. And I'm just kind of going a little bit on each side, just like this. Just adding, like the colors just kind of seeping on there. Okay. There we go. I think I got them all. And same on this one, just wanting to get in that third color. All right, I'm liking that. The next thing we're gonna do is bring in a little, throw that. We're gonna bring in our sprayer. This is just water, and you could use even a plant sprayer or anything like that. We're gonna just mist this just like that to set that color in. All right, and then my favorite part, you guys. We're gonna take a lot of water. You could actually just dip your hand into a water glass. And we're splattering. Splattering. Because we really want to get watermarks on this. And now I'm gonna hit that with a heat gun. And we might do a little bit more. And if you don't have a heat gun, a hair dryer works just great for this. All right. So let's see if you can see my little splatters there. Right here, I might even do a little bit more. Okay. And I'm going to hit that with the heat gun again, and then we're going to cut these out, and I'll let you show what the I'll show you what the final result looks like. All right, so here they are cut out and dried. You can see that's really, I did another couple rounds of that splattering, drying, splattering. Here are the blank ones. You can really see those, they almost look like little orbs on there. And then here are the ones with the months listed on them. So these tabs are just going to get folded like this, and then we are going to be on our journal, planner, whatever you're making. I'm making a planner. Whenever that's completed, we're going to be gluing those little tabs in. All right. So let's start by getting our cover done. Now that we have all those little tabs and things done, I like to cover my cover very simply. So I first like to start off by selecting my favorite scene to go on the cover. I really like the whale right here, but this is so cool. We've got this little seaweed thing going on and all the plants with the turtles going up. That's a strong contender. On the back, you can see we have all of these beautiful inking. This is a fantastic border. That would also be a fantastic cover. Now look at this one with all the, like, I guess that's like a jellyfish, and then the little bottle with the seahorse, just so sweet. I'm really wondering, here's another one. As you can see, these would all be amazing. We've got the border here that could just go right along that edge. That would be gorgeous too. I also want to keep in mind, if I want to put my 2023 book plate on there, you know, how that is going to look there. And then we've got this one right here with the seahorse, and I'm really loving the seahorse, so I think I'm going to go with that. All right, don't worry, we're going to use the rest of these papers in there for sure. So I'm going to be using Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue. You could use a tape runner, you could use any glue, any white glue that you have. If you're going to use something like Elmer's glue or something like that, I have a tip for you. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough glue along the edge of that black binding. We're not going to interfere with that. We're going to use that just like that is. Also, we want a lot of glue on the areas that get handled the most, which are those corners and these outside edges. That is really going to get handled a lot. Those are the areas that tend to lift up. This area right in here, not as important, doesn't need as much glue. Now, this is a paper glue, so it has the ability to just soak into the paper a little bit and really grab on. But if you're using something like Elmer's or something like that, it's a waterier glue, that's fine. But a thing you could do to help you from getting little, big globs, you can just kind of smooth it out like this. A glue that is sort of meant for, specifically for paper crafting, is just a little easier to use. All right, now we're going to take this straight edge and we're going to make it align with this edge here and along the bottom. Just like that. Okay, once those are aligned, then we're going to go ahead and smooth that paper over the surface, and using like a bone folder or even a knife or something like that to just really make that connect is very nice. And I'm just going to smooth that glue out. It's kind of leaking. And you could even take a little paper towel or a wet wipe and just get any excess glue off of that binding. Just keeps it from looking kind of cloudy once it's dried. All right, now to trim this, I'm going to turn this over. Use a pair of scissors that have a nice long blade as opposed to a pair of scissors that have short blade, okay? And we're going to cut right along the edge of that closed composition book, just like that. And it's so nice because you can cut right up next to that. It's giving you this really nice cutting edge. Okay, now we're going to cut around the corner. Just turn, notice how I'm turning the book. I'm not turning my scissors. And then we're just going to go right up there. And we're just doing this last little corner. See how we're turning the book? All right. Yeah, that looks really pretty. Look at that. That's all it takes to cover one of these. Just some really, really pretty cardstock. The weight of the paper is nice. You could use scrapbooking paper, which is thinner. But if you're using cardstock, you're not going to get any of those little gluey bumps on there at all. All right, so we've got our little 2023 that we can add to that later. All right, so now we're going to open this up, and on the inside, I just want to make sure that any of my glue didn't seep in. See right there on that page. Just want to make sure that these are free. There we go. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the back, and then we're going to cover the inside front and the inside back, and we're going to add a pocket to each. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get that back covered, and then we'll deal with the insides. All right, I've gone ahead and covered my back as well, and now we are going to be working on the inside front cover and creating a pocket for that. So this paper collection also has a coordinating cardstock, which I originally didn't think I was going to use, but then I thought I want to cover part of this top, and I don't want to use with paper, but I don't want to use my beautiful pattern paper for that. So I thought I would just cover that in solid cardstock and do the pocket with the patterned one. So I have chosen this beautiful sort of cinnamony color because I think it goes really well with what I'm doing with my pocket. So I've gone ahead and I've cut this to, this is 7.5 inches wide, all right, and then it's 7 inches deep. So 7.5 by 7, all right. And we're going to do that because we're going to put our pocket right down here, and we don't need to cover the whole thing with solid cardstock. We're just saving ourselves a little time and a little money there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue here. I don't want to get my glue right up into that binding, so we're going to be careful about that. Sometimes I put my glue directly on my cardstock and paper, and sometimes I glue it to the surface of what I'm working on. Just kind of depends. Get any excess off there. And then I'm gonna just make sure that works. Yes. All right, so I'm not going to trim that right now. We're going to wait and do the pocket, and then we'll come back and trim a little excess right here off. So for the pocket, I'm going to use this beautiful border right here. And I thought, should I put this sweet little bottle here on the border? But I decided, no, I'm going to save that for a different part. So we're going to use this part right here. All right, so we're going to cut the pocket to 4 inches tall. Put this in. All right, and I'm going to use all of this at 4 inches tall, so I'm just going to cut the whole thing off. Save me a little time for later. All right, and once again, well, I guess I should have kept this open. 7.5 inches wide is what we're dealing with here. And I'm just barely going to be able to save my bottle. Okay, we'll save that for later. Here we go. So you see this is going to go down here at the bottom, and we're going to leave the top open to make a pocket. But I want to put a little notch in there to make it easier to kind of get into. So here's a little trick for you. What I like to do, instead of measuring, which some of you who have been following me know I hate measuring. I just hate it. Ugh. So I'm just going to take that, and I'm not folding it. I'm just sort of like bending it. But right here, I'm just going to make a little crease. You see where that is? And then I'm going to go ahead and take, this is a 3/4 inch hole punch. And do you see where there's a little crease right in there? I'm going halfway across the hole punch. So I just want a half circle. Just like that. There we go. And then that's going to get glued right there. All right, so now to make our pocket, we're going to put glue on 3 sides only, not the top. And that's going to get right there. And I'm really making sure that the bottom is aligned. I'm running my finger along the cover. Okay. Very nice. And with that little notch in there, it's going to make that easier to open. All right, so now we're going to trim away this excess because I did get my little cinnamony cardstock a little too big. I thought I cut them both to 7.5 inches wide, but obviously the cardstock, the cinnamony cardstock, is not. I'm going to cut this with using this a little bit smaller. scissor there. And I kind of got off track right here, so we're gonna just go over that. All right. So there's my pocket on the front. And then on the back, I've already done that as well. All right, so the covers are pretty much done. I'm gonna do a little inking. So I'm gonna go back to my little pumpkin color that we use on our tags. What's going on there? Look, that's from my pocket. I think when I shut the thing, I shut the book, it just kind of squished out. I don't remember seeing that before. Were you guys screaming? You forgot to cut some. All right. There's that. Just gives it a little bit of a shadow there, a little bit of a finished edge. And I'm good here. I don't need to do it there. All right, so now let's talk about kind of finishing off the cover here. We've got our little tag, our little 2023 tag going on. And I also wanted to do something else with the binding. So for that, I've got some twine here. These were both purchased at the dollar store, Dollar Tree specifically. And this is just a really rough jute. And then this one is a little bit more, it's a little thinner. It could be like a hemp or something like that. So I got them both at the dollar store at different times. So I have a knot there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take the thinner one. Now you could use the thicker one, if that's what you've got. The thinner one, because I'm going to put this inside the front cover and I'm going to wrap it twice so that the ends are on the front of the cover. Okay, so let's try that again. So I've cut about a yard, fold it in half, put the center right here. Okay, and then we're going to wrap it like this. Let's see, how many times can I wrap it here? Yeah, we're gonna wrap it twice. I thought maybe I could get a third time out of that, but nah. All right, now, once it's in place over here by that black binding, I'm going to tie it like this. Okay, we're going to do this one time like this, and then I want to connect it to the one underneath, so we're going to tie it again, but this time we're going to put the one underneath kind of sandwich in there. There we go. And now I should probably tie that again just for symmetry. And now I can take the ends here, tie a little knot in those. This one's a little longer, but we'll still make it work. And that's just going to be our little binding decoration there, sticking with that ocean theme. Okay, we've got our 2023. I'm going to put that right up at the top. No worries if your cardstock is a little warped from getting wet and dried so many times. Just really making sure I get those outside edges. Again, just really burnishing that to make sure that's going to stay in place. All right, so now we're going to do like the sneak peeky part of, I wanted to give you guys an idea of what this is going to look like. These tabs are going to get glued in and they're going to kind of peek out along the right edge all the way down. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on next. So let's open this up, and now, as I said before, you can make this book into a planner or a journal or whatever you'd like. And I want to give, this away at the end of the video. So if you keep watching to the end, you guys, remember, I'm going to tell you how you can win this. So I don't want to commit too much to what this is going to be, other than, you know, like the months or whatever, but whoever wins this can also just take the months out and do whatever they'd like with it. But I did want to speak to how to make this more of a calendar planner. So I went ahead, and you can go online and just search free, you know, calendar printouts. So I found this one and just print it out to the size it would work nicely. I think it was like a 70% of the 8.5 by 11, printed that out. And then I can just take this and I can just glue this by tacking this down inside my planner. This is what I do for my planner that I use. I do all the months, and then of course leave several pages in between that and the next month, because you might have dinners to plan or other things that you want to take notes on for that month. So I'm not going to glue this in, just in case the winner of this doesn't want to use it in that way. So we're going to go ahead though, and I like to leave a couple of blank pages, and then we're going to start with January, of course. Now, of course, you can start this whenever you've made this. So if you're making this planner in, you know, August, start with August, make it an 18-month planner or whatever. Now, we're going to take a couple of pages and move them aside, and then January is going to get glued just like this. You fold these in half, put a tiny little line of glue at the top and the bottom. I find using a little glue bottle like this is really nice, because then I'm not getting too much glue on there except when it's clogged. Okay. I haven't used my glue in a couple of weeks, and so I think it's just said, hey, pay attention to me. All right. So I don't want too much glue on there. So there's January. We're sandwiching that. And this is what I want to do. I want to shut that so I can see how far that's sticking out. Because the first one or two that you're doing here are going to kind of set the pace for the others. All right, there's January. Now we're going to leave a couple of pages, and then we're going to go to February. All right, so now I come back to this, and I want to make sure that I've just got one sheet, sandwiching it again, but I want to kind of get it the same height as January. Okay, and I just kind of press that down like that. I'm going to do this all the way down, and I'm going to come back and show you. All right, my planner is all done. I thought I would give you a final flip through here. So cover, I'm really pleased with. Inside we have a pocket. I like to take scraps and cut little notches in them, and then they work great, you guys, for little bookmarks for special occasions. So I'm going to include these right in here, because as I said before, one of you is going to be a winner, because you're amazing, and I thank you so much for watching my channel. I'll include those in the pocket as well. So I'm going to take a flip through here and show you some things while I tell you how you can win. First of all, if you like my video and you comment, and then if you're already a subscriber or whether you're a new subscriber today, you will be entered into win this beautiful 2023 planner. And I only have one to give away. So my wonderful sister-in-law, Carrie, who helps me run my channel, is going to select a winner. And then we will choose that and announce it in the following week's, next Monday, following week's video. You have to watch the video because the winner is hidden within the video. And when you are the winner, it'll say email me with your winner and your name and your address, and I will pack this up for snail mail and I will send this to you, you guys. It's been so fun this last 6 months making all the videos. I'm pretty proud of the library that my sister-in-law and I have created. So yeah, I would really appreciate it if you go back and look at some of those gift giving ideas that we have for the new year. We have some great things planned for coming up in 2023. So I hope you stick around and watch. Tell your friends. I'm really trying to grow my channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.